these days. Yay! Oh, goodness. Hello, everyone. It is Woman Up Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining us both here in Zoom and on the Facebook group. We have an amazing wisdom session for all of you today. And before we get started, for those of you who are on both platforms, remember, drop into the chat section what city and state you are watching from. We would love to see some Red Threads Connect for referrals, inside the community and beyond. So make sure that you do that. If you are new to the community, let us know that too. Have you attended a wisdom session in the past? If so, which one? What's your favorite topic so far? We love to hear those things. For today, we are talking about the keys to starting a brokerage. In our community, we have been passionate since day one when Sarah and I sat down at our whiteboards in Seattle and in LA and vision cast what this community would one day become. It was all about helping women to the top of their careers, whatever that looked like for them. And that brings in those value words of identifying, developing, and connecting you to the resources and people that you need to get there. And these four amazing voices, these women who have so many different layers of wisdom around starting a brokerage, have decided to join us today. They raised their hand, they said yes. And so if you've ever thought for even a split second, I want to learn how to start my own brokerage, but where do I start? Or I want to take my brokerage to the next level. It might be you and one or two other people, but you're thinking, how do I start expanding? You are going to have those questions answered for you today. So throughout the show, as you know, we want these ladies to be able to soak into a conversation amongst the four of them. So they are not going to be paying attention to the chats. That is my job. And Sarah and Melanie, we're all here to do that. And then at the end of the show, I will pop back in. You'll see my face. You'll know that's when we're about to wrap up and do the questions and answers. So drop your questions in along the way. We'll collect them and ask these amazing women those questions. All right. So for those of you who do not know this amazing group of women, Suzanne Yost is our moderator, and her bio is amazing. For those of you who have not met Suzanne before, we are going to make sure to get her bio in front of all the full bio. But she has owned a brokerage. She has sold a brokerage. She has started as a realtor. She has been every level of leadership inside CAR, NAR, many other levels and layers. And on top of all of that experience as a broker owner, as a servant leader, and as a realtor, she has found a beautiful passion for mentoring others, for sharing her wisdom, and including writing many classes over the years, and one in particular for the Woman Up Academy on risk management. So today she is going to be leading the conversation with Rhonda, Lori, and Mia. And I'm going to turn it right on over to you, my dear Suzanne. And I'll see you ladies in just a little bit for the Q&A. Have a great conversation.
Thank you, Deborah, for that amazing introduction. I'm not sure if that means that I'm not focusing enough on one thing, but I have done an awful lot of different things in my life, as have our panelists. And so I'm very excited to have them do a short self-introduction, as we will hear more and more about them as we go through this exciting hour. But I'm going to start with asking Rhonda Calipio, if you would please give your introduction.
Absolutely. I'm so honored to be here with you guys. I actually started in real estate back in '87 as an affiliate. I received my real estate license in 2003, and I actually didn't start selling until 2016. At 48 years old, I started a brand new career. I became a broker shortly after that. And in 2019, at the end of 2019, I opened my own brokerage, over 50. And so I hope that today I can share something that will inspire you to take your gifts and put them into action. I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you, Rhonda. And Lori Namazi, would you introduce yourself, please?
Certainly. Thank you. I'm so thrilled to be here with all of you guys. So I began my career in 2002 as a brand new realtor, second career, and I sold for a couple of years. I loved this business, but I didn't love selling. And so I went into the management side of the business and just worked my way up the corporate ladder for many years. And I became the corporate broker of record for an independent company that had over 1,800 agents. So I was the responsible broker for that many agents. And at one point I decided, you know what, it's time for me to build my own legacy. I've been helping someone else build theirs. And so I decided to go out on my own. And I actually started a brokerage consulting business first. And with that, I am able to help other brokers either start their brokerage or examine how they're currently operating and make them more efficient and make them more compliant and just more confident in operating. And then I did start a brokerage with my business partner, Lisa Dunn. And so I'm honored to be here today.
And some of us who have been involved in Woman Up for a while may remember when Lori and Lisa announced their desire and intention to open their brokerage. So I'm glad to have you today to expand on that or take that journey a little step farther. And Mia, could I ask you to give us your short introduction?
Absolutely. A pleasure being here with all you ladies. My name is Mia McLeod, and I am the broker owner of McLeod and Associates. I opened up the brokerage when I was 22 years old, and actually, we just celebrated our 16th year company anniversary on May 13, just last week. So we officially incorporated May 13, 2005. Here we are. My office is in the city of Walnut, and we have about 27 agents and teammates. Looking forward to adding some value today.
Thank you. Thank you, Mia. I have to say that each of these fantastic women have approached this from a different approach, a different time in their life. And so it just gives us a tremendous experience and knowledge that we can draw upon today. I am going to ask Rhonda if when you speak, we did have a couple comments in the chat box that it's a little hard to hear you. So if you could maybe shout out.
Absolutely. And I switched back to, I think this is, can you guys hear me a little bit better?
It's a little better. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
better. Good. Okay, thank you. We do have some questions today, but who knows where we might drift off to. So I am going to ask you in different orders to answer the questions, but I'd like to get a little background on what you did before you got into real estate, because I think that's always helpful to people who are trying to decide, and maybe a little bit very brief on what pulled you into real estate. I'm going to start with Rhonda for this question.
Okay, fantastic. So I started in the title insurance industry, and I was an affiliate for many, many years. When I got licensed in 2003, it was simply because I was working alongside agents and I wanted to have more credibility. I stayed in that industry title for a very long time. I branched off, took lots at the top of the real estate game. I left the industry to pursue owning my own business, which at that time was a coffee franchise. It was a dream that I always had to one day open, and I did it. Very short run with it. It took 2 years to open. 6 months after opening, I had to pull the plug. So I know the fear that goes with opening and launching your own business. I went back into title and I just didn't feel settled. I renewed my license and felt that pull of really feeling I was supposed to be an agent. And so I prayerfully followed that path, and it really led me to a brand new career and ultimately opening my own business.
Great, thank you. Mia, would you like to tell us a little bit about what, I know you graduated from UC Berkeley and almost immediately started your own brokerage, so.
Yeah, so my journey, all of our journeys here are so different. So for mine, I like you said, jumped right into it for the most part. So I graduated from UC Berkeley, opened up at 22, but in between that, there was about a good 6 months where I worked for a startup real estate / mortgage company. So I had that 6 months there, but I opened up again immediately at 22. And my mom owned a little travel agency in West Covina, and she let me use one of her desks in the front. You know, I didn't have a budget. I would just was so excited to get started. I had that entrepreneurial spirit, single mom, so I was very used to seeing the grit growing up and all of that. So I think naturally that was instilled in me at a very young age. But again, she let me use one desk when I first got started in her travel agency while I was saving up for my own lease for my office. And she was probably, if I were to go back, being so young, she was probably the real why behind it in the beginning, because I really wanted to take good care of my mom, again, who raised us as a single parent. But now that big why has definitely transformed through the years, and a lot has been added to that. And to be more clear about it, our why is we strive to care, inspire, and add value to others in everything that we do. So now it's a way of living for me.
Thank you, Mia. Thank you so much. Lori, what you did before real estate, what pulled you into real estate?
So before real estate, I was in the hospitality industry. I was in the restaurant business for about 12 years and originally planned on pursuing a degree in hotel and restaurant management. And it's pretty grueling. And over time, I just decided, you know, this isn't very fulfilling to just be serving people lunch. Let me help them with a decision that gives them something for their life, that security, that comfort. It was something that made me feel like I was really investing in people. And the year before I got into the business, I bought my first home and went through that process, and so understood the importance of it and how much it really can improve people's lives and their families.
Oh, that's terrific. Thank you. It sounds like all three of you really made a conscious choice to become real estate brokers. And of course, you did make that choice to open your own companies. I will say for myself, I was working my way from the time I got out of high school at 17, working my way through college as much as I could take classes and support myself. And I was managing an appraisal office in San Luis Obispo, and the wife of one of the partners asked me, she was going to start her own real estate brokerage, Sally Ross in San Luis Obispo, and she asked me if I would come and join her real estate office. And I thought, well, I'll try that for a year or two while I'm finishing school, thinking I would never stay in it. And this year I achieved my realtor emeritus status. I'm not sure if that's a good or bad thing, but feeling a little old with that. But
Impressive. Congratulations.
well, I know that Lori, you worked your way also through college, and also later after that went back for advanced degrees. And I went back in my 40s to get my law degree. And so a lot of commonality in this group of people who are always trying to achieve something else. Mia kind of started on this, but my next question I wanted to ask is, what is your why for starting your own company? And Mia, just give us a quick run through on that, if you would.
Yeah, so such a big point. Just that's one of the things that I feel is really important for folks who are really on the fence about making that jump into starting their own brokerage, is really identifying their big why. What is driving them? What is the reason behind wanting to start? So that was an area that I didn't have clear at 22. It was just hungry to get out there and open it up, had that entrepreneurial spirit. But through coaching and through some failing forward, I really learned that why is so important. And so throughout the years, we kept working on that and kept working on that. And it came became clear, our statement was, again, we strive to care, inspire, and add value to others in everything that we do. And for me personally, it's a way of living. So it's not only here at McLeod and Associates, it's in everything that we do. And what we do, the service is real estate, right? But that why always is there to drive us. So whenever there's turbulence or whenever there's a conflict, we can always go back, whether I need to go back and remember what the why is, or bring the team together to go over our why. And just that provides so much more clarity and peace, especially for those tougher days.
Thank you, Mia. Lori, let's talk about your why.
So for me, I mentioned it earlier, I spent many years of my career helping someone else build their legacy. And I realized that I was always about accomplishing the next big challenge. That achievement, drives me, like you mentioned. And so I wanted to build my own legacy. And I knew that where I was, what I was doing wasn't going to do that for me. I loved what I was doing, but why couldn't I do it for me? And so I went out on my own to do it for me, and recognized very quickly, even before I went out on my own, I would regularly get calls from other brokers who would say, who would ask me questions. How do I handle this? How do I handle that? And so I recognized that there was a need for brokers to have someone to turn to. And so I was able to fill that gap. And so that transition from me building my legacy to me helping others build their legacy. And whether it's an individual agent who wants to be an independent broker, or they want to start a brokerage, I'm able to add value to them and give them that comfort and that guidance that they're looking for. And at the same time, build my own brokerage with my business partner. So that's what I do.
Thank you. Rhonda, how about your why?
For me, having been an affiliate, I had the privilege of kind of being in the back office of every real estate company in my area. And so when it became an opportunity, I was a broker, and do I become a broker associate for someone? I felt like I didn't feel I was supposed to go anywhere else. I really felt like I had an opportunity to create my company, my rules, my values, my everything. I can create something, even if it was just me, that speaks to my heart and allows me. I feel like real estate is part ministry. It's such a privilege to walk with people on this journey, and to create a company that can do those things and truly give back to the community was something that really inspired me to kind of just create my own thing. And now that I have agents with me, I really want to help shape them from a mindset perspective of, do you want to be a realtor that happens to own a business, or do you want to be a business owner that happens to be a realtor? And so teaching them that they have the gifts and tools to create a flourishing business, and hopefully inspire them to get pushed out and open their own company.
That's terrific. What I'm hearing is that all three of you really sat down and put some conscious effort into figuring out why you wanted to take this step of having your own brokerage. You just didn't say, well, let's do that. But what is the reason behind it? What do I want to put out there into the world with my brokerage? Thank you. I did want to ask if there was, I'm sure that it took a lot of thinking, a lot of anticipation, a lot of challenge and fear around that. But is there a particular event or advice that you got that got you off the fence and propelled you into taking that first step? I'm going to start with Lori for this question.
Well, quite honestly, the first step in leaving the company I was at, making that decision, was a long, painful road. And I knew that I was not happy anymore. I loved what I was doing, but I wasn't happy anymore. And so I did hire a coach. I hired a coach to help me navigate the issues I was faced with. And she helped me recognize that a particular personality that I was dealing with was someone that I could encounter anywhere. So I either had to figure out how to work with that personality and stay, or how to work with that personality and gracefully leave. And I chose to gracefully leave because I realized that over all of the years that I had invested in one company, I loved it and I'm grateful for that company, but I was ready to spread my wings. I was very pigeonholed into one role, and people only knew me in one capacity. And so taking that leap required me to have a lot of conversation around what I really wanted. And it was with my coach, but it was also with my friends and Lisa, who became my business partner. Do you want me to talk about that epiphany now, or do you want to save that for later?
No, I think I'd like to hear it now.
Okay. So Lisa and I became friends. We met through Orange County Realtors and spent a lot of time traveling together through CAR and built a beautiful friendship. And we would be on the airplane and just, figure out how we were going to solve all the problems of the world. And so we'd be on these flights and we'd talk about the future brokerage we might have. And we kept talking about it very, very much in theory. Well, when we do this. And so we were at the first Woman Up, I believe it was. It feels so long ago now, but actually, I don't know if it was Women Up, but either way, we were at a hotel and she's in taking a shower. We were sharing a room, and she comes out and she's, got her hair wrapped in a towel and her robe on, and she says, "I have a great idea." And I thought, I don't know what kind of idea she has coming out of the shower. Let's hear this. She said, "Why don't we just start a brokerage?" And I said, "Okay, I've been waiting for you. I've been waiting for you to say, okay, let's do it." And so we didn't do it right then, but we started really laying the foundation for it. And it wasn't until several months later that Lisa needed to move her broker's license. And she called me up and she said, "I need to do this today. Are you in?" I said, "I'm in." And that was the day we started the brokerage. But we couldn't have just opened up shop. We had already laid that foundation and had those conversations. So we knew what we were looking to do and how we would do it. We just had to kick it into high gear and make it happen. And so that's the shower epiphany story that really propelled us to start the brokerage. And it's been wonderful.
That's terrific. It often when we make these huge decisions, it's so many factors enter into it, and it takes a long time to get there. But once that switch is flipped, everybody's ready to go. Let's see. I think I have Rhonda next.
Remind me the question exactly.
Oh, absolutely. Is there some event or advice that got you off the fence and propelled you into taking that first step to open your own brokerage?
Sure. For me, I was a managing broker of my son's company, and he decided to go off into a different direction. And since I already had my broker's license, it was really trying to determine, where do I go? What do I do? And I had opened that business before and it didn't work. And so fear was gripping my heart and keeping me from moving forward. And I honestly took it to my Bible study group and kind of laid it out, said, "I don't know what to do. I'm afraid to open a business because I've failed before." And having that group speak life into my dreams and help me to put fear aside, table the fear, grab onto faith, and take those steps forward. That for me was what pushed me off the fence. And just, you start with all the things. Well, I don't have a name, I don't have a location. And for me, I prayerfully put it out there and said, okay, if this is what I'm supposed to do, I need these things to show themselves. And one by one, the path was just kind of lit for me, and it was just up to me to take those steps forward bravely. Scared, but bravely.
And maybe that having that quote failure, but failing forward, gave you the confidence that that you knew you could survive, even if it didn't work out. So
Exactly. I think, and like Mia shared, failing forward is so important. We all are going to have challenges, but we learn lessons through each one of those challenges, and those can definitely help propel us forward.
wonderful. Mia, what would you like to add to that?
You know, when I think of any one thing that kind of propelled me, surprisingly, I think just it was ingrained in me to that kind of fire, that entrepreneurial spirit. So starting at 22, I don't know if there was one particular thing that got me off the fence. It was kind of that thing of what you don't know, you don't know. So I'm kind of fearless, you know. It's like now when I think about it, like, wow, I can't believe that I did that at 22. You know, there are days where I was like, whoa, that's a wild move. But at that time, again, what you don't know, you don't know. So there was not a lot of fear about it. I was just like out there going for it. But I totally understand why there are many people on the fence. I can understand and see why. And in my humble opinion, I think we're always concerned about everything needs to be perfect. Every detail needs to be to a T when we do things. And I think that's where we can get hung up a lot of times. And so my advice to anyone on there would just be like, you know, just go for it. I don't think we're going to have any regrets when we go for it, but I do feel like we would have regrets if we don't. I'm 16 years in, and I have loved every single day of this. It has been the most amazing gift that God has given me, and I'm so grateful that He chose me to take this path with Him as my partner, as a business owner. And I still don't know everything, but I have Him by my side and have great tribes around me that give me the peace and the excitement to go forward. And through that process, you know, I've also become a wife and a mom. I'm a mom of a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. And as a mother, I definitely don't know everything that I'm doing, but I'm putting my best foot forward, and I have peace again that, you know, God is my partner and my husband, of course, in raising these kids, and I don't need to know everything. Same with being a mom, same with being a business owner. So, you know, we get one life. I want to live it as full as possible and really go for it.
Thank you, Mia.
Yeah.
One thing that I'm kind of getting from the conversation is that we don't often have enough respect for our opportunities and also for our abilities. I can say for myself, it's taken a long time to realize that there are a lot of things that I'm pretty good at. And Lori in particular was mentioning also that she was talking with a coach. And I think sometimes it's really helpful to find what avenue will provide you that personal support and that encouragement and that confidence to take the steps that you have to take to open your own brokerage. One of the things that we talked about as a group on our pre-session was about getting your broker's license. And even if you don't want to open your own brokerage, it's one of those affirming things that we do, I think, to have our broker's license. Lori and I think Rhonda had this situation where the time became right because the brokerage you were with wasn't working out or needed to be changed. And if you've got that broker's license, you've always got the ability to step out one door and open another door into being your own broker. And so I would encourage anybody who's on the call today to get your broker's license, even if I got mine in 1985. And it's good to have that sort of support in your own mind that I took the next step to become a broker because I want to be the best at my game. But it also gives you the ability to change horses if you need to, if that
Yeah.
makes any sense. That's kind of an odd analogy.
I
Um,
couldn't
I,
agree more, though. It gives you options.
I-
When I got my broker's license, it was with the intention that I am not going to be my son's broker of record. It's not going to happen. That's not why I did it.
Mhm.
But circumstances came up, and lo and behold, he needed a broker, and I had a broker's license. And so he's my only child. What are you going to do? I became his broker of record, even though I didn't want to. And so when his path went a different direction, I still had options because I had that license. And so I do encourage people. Um, Additional education is so vital, whether you get a designation or your brokerage license. It gives you credibility, it gives you options. So definitely invest in yourself.
Yes, thank you, Rhonda. Because as an attorney, my mind always goes this direction, and people say that they don't get their broker's license because they think it adds to their liability. And so I just want to put out there that only time it will add to your liability is if you start hiring agents under your broker's license. But to have your own broker's license, your fiduciary duty remains the same. So there's, excuse me, no reason not to get the broker's license. So we digress a little bit. I think it was a good point. Going back in time, what advice would you give yourself? And if you could if you could change anything about what you did when you were getting started. And I'm going to start with Mia, and then it'll be Lori and Rhonda.
I could go back in time, I would hire a coach right out the gate. Definitely invest in yourself. I would meet with different brokers, take them out to coffee. I would have met with Lori Namazi, that's for sure. And I would really have a growth plan, not just a goal plan, and just surround myself with a really positive tribe, and make sure we talk about the why, but make sure that why is super clear. That's what I would have done differently. Mentors, coaches, I would have a good CPA so I understand the profit and loss and the balance sheets, all that good stuff right out the gate. I would have done that a little different.
Thank you. So Lori.
Well, what I would have done different is I would have gotten out of my own way a lot sooner. For so many years, I was questioning my capabilities because I worked in a predominantly male environment. And so I was always having to prove myself. And that's one big difference between men and women in the workplace. We doubt ourselves. We have to check all 10 boxes before we say we're ready, and men don't. And so if I could have understood that at a much younger age, and I'm grateful. My daughter is 20 years younger than me. I had her when I was 20. And that woman, she's 27, and she gets it. I mean, she has a decade on me in her confidence level and her ability to handle the workplace that's predominantly male as well. And so if I could have learned that at a younger age and gotten out of my own way, that would have been huge. But also, I said this at the Woman Up a couple years ago, I finally realized I needed to be the girl who decided to go for it. I just wish I would have went for it sooner.
I think that's a common thread for women, that we doubt ourselves and then regret that we didn't move forward sooner. So Rhonda, how about you?
So, I think the girls nailed all of the points that are super important. I don't think I really have any regrets looking back. I don't think I would do anything different. I think the most important thing, though, is the tribe, who you surround yourself with. You have to be in a circle of doers and dreamers and people that are willing to go for it, because that helps propel you. Being in the Women Up community it's huge. They empower women to want to take on those leadership roles, to stretch themselves just a little bit further than they think they're capable of. And so if any advice I would give, get into a tribe of people that are going to push you out of your comfort zone and go for it.
Great. Well, we've talked a bit about what has motivated you, kind of some of the hurdles that you got over to become your own brokers. Um, I'd like to move though to a little more nuts and bolts of the conversation, and I think the audience would really like to hear how to get started. What are some of the key components, some of the steps, maybe the first couple of steps that they should take once they've decided to open their own brokerage? And I'm going to start with Rhonda for that.
So I think it's important that you do look at the models that are out there. Having your own business is not for everyone. However, it gives you such a unique opportunity to create something brand new, something different, something that is uniquely you. So just like I encourage my agents, who's your ideal client? What does that ideal client look like? What does your ideal brokerage look like? And if you can't find it out there, then create it.
Thank you. And I'm going to ask Mia next. Give us a couple of your specific pointers.
It's such a great question. But the beauty of real estate is we get to really create a space once you become a brokerage that really is, like Rhonda and Lori say, true to who you are, who you want to be. So earlier when I still mentioned sitting down with a good CPA team. So the logistical stuff or the detailed stuff, making sure you have a good coach, clearing up that why, have a good attorney, all the nuts and bolts of running a business, I think are very important. But the culture piece, which you get to really create on your own, and just be prepared for if you decide to hire people, what comes with that is some great teamwork, but also comes tough conversations, comes letting go or people leaving. I've experienced backstabbing and things like that. So there's also some of that comes into running your own brokerage. But going back again to the beauty of it, I shared this with the girls last week. For the team that's with us, we have folks that have been with us for a minimum of 5 years, 10 years, 16 years, which is a long time in our industry, right? That level of loyalty and commitment. So we actually came together, which is something really neat for us that we created here at our brokerage, and bought our first 4-unit investment property as a team last week and closed escrow. So those are like some neat things that you can do culture-wise and create that is not really traditional, if you will. And that's the beauty that I really think come with running a brokerage. And also what I've learned is while we do real estate, it really is more than the service. It's who we become through the process. It really is the journey, and embracing that and giving yourself grace at the same time, because it's the path less traveled, but it's so rewarding. Again, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to have been a business owner that serves the real estate community.
Thanks, Mia. Lori, how about you?
Well, Rhonda and Mia really covered, quite a bit of the main first steps in the preparation. So what I would add to it is you really need to examine what it is you're looking to accomplish. You already know this business. You already know how to sell real estate. So as a individual business owner who works for someone else, do you want that freedom to go out on your own? And if so, what does that look like? And how do you do it? So you have to examine too, what are you leaving behind? Because there are a lot of expenses. There are a lot of decisions that have to be made. It's very easy to just one day wake up and be a broker and be out there and doing the business you're used to. But if you really want to build your business and create your legacy, there's a lot more to it. And so I think talking to someone who's done it, talking to a coach or a consultant and asking them, how do I actually do this, is vital.
Lori, you talked in a previous question also about having a coach. Could you maybe give some specifics briefly to the audience on how you select a coach. How do you even begin the process of finding a coach that's a good fit with you?
That's a great question. You know, the coach that I found, I happened to go to a workshop that was covering two topics, and I was interested in one topic, and this presenter was presenting the other topic. So I wasn't even initially drawn to the workshop because of this coach. But once she started speaking, I just connected with her. And I think especially for women, we tend to do that. We connect with people. If we feel that bond, if we feel, oh, they get me, we're gonna relate. And then it's much easier to make that final decision, because you need someone who is going to be a partner with you, who's going to be supportive of you, but not just kiss your butt. I mean, they need to tell you the truth. They need to tell you, you know what, you're not meeting the goals that you've set for yourself, because it's not your job as the coach or the coach's job to fix everything for them. It's to guide, it's to listen and to encourage. And so for my clients, my broker clients, that's my
I'm
job.
not sure if Lori's frozen,
Oh,
or hopefully not me.
No, we can see her. I think Suzanne, oh, there you go. You're good.
Oh, okay.
I
Sorry
heard
about
that.
that.
okay.
To add to what Lori just
Lori,
said, I think
can I-
part
I'm sorry, go ahead.
part of what she touched on too is putting yourself in the circles that you can meet those people. I met my coach at an industry event, and I think that's, you have to put yourself out there in order to connect with the people that need to be in your life.
Thank you. Lori, I wanted to follow up with one question, and maybe Rhonda has an answer as well. When you're looking for a coach, is it important to find a good coach for women, no matter what business they're in, or is it important to find a coach who is specific to real estate? What do you think is most valuable in terms of looking for the right kind of support? Lori?
That's a good question. I think it's a very personal decision, though. I think you have to be able to know that you can trust the person's advice, whether they're in your industry or not. Because if they're giving you business advice, you need someone who is credible. If they're giving you real estate advice, you need someone who's credible. And I have found that there are a number of real estate coaches who may have at one point had a license, but they no longer have a license. To me, for me personally, that's not a credible coach. I want someone who's still engaged in the industry, not just selling coaching services. Because again, it's a partnership, and you can only be credible if you're in it. Now, I don't sell real estate every day of my life. I work off referrals. So if I have referrals, I do my real estate business, but I run a brokerage and I work with other brokers, and I have, almost 2 decades of experience in the industry, and I won't let my license lapse, because to me, that adds the credibility. So, if you have a sales coach, they may or may not have to be in the business, because at the root of it, sales is sales. But if you want someone who's really going to guide you on how to protect your brokerage and grow your brokerage and deal with the different issues that we deal with in our industry, then I would recommend someone who is in the industry.
So it sounds like very important to figure out what you want to achieve by having a coach, what the needs are that you want to have fulfilled, and then take a look at who might be the positive fit.
Yeah. Yes.
Great. Any other specifics that we could give the audience before we move on? I do have a couple of other things I want to touch on.
For
think
coaching,
the coach, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, to go back to the coaching, yes, again, to reiterate, it's important for what you're looking for. For me, at one point, I felt like I hit a roadblock, and I was dealing with a lot of turnover. maybe 5 to 10 years ago, the turnover was so high, and I just had to stop in my tracks and say, what am I doing wrong? And I needed to stop pointing the fingers outward and needed to look inward. And I really wanted a coach that could help me sort through whatever I needed to sort through, whatever energy I may possibly be giving out. I needed a coach to lean on for that. Not necessarily sales or whatnot. I also needed a coach to get me more comfortable with the tougher conversations, if you will. I don't know if many of us are actually ever truly comfortable with the hard, tough, direct conversations. But I've also learned through coaching that those conversations are important. That's where the most growth truly happens for both sides. And so a lot of the coaching I leaned on for that space, and I'm grateful for that.
Great, thank you, Mia. I want to ask a question of the three of you in terms of, I hate this word. I wish we'd come up with something else, but balance in your life. We know Mia has very small children. Lori is running 2 businesses, but she's also president of the Orange County Realtors. Congratulations. I loved my year as president. And Rhonda's involved at the association level. And a lot of what we hear from people saying they don't want to get involved in organized real estate, for one thing, is, can some of you tell me, and I'm going to start with Lori, how you feel that adds to your value as a broker owner?
It adds huge value. I am a better professional because of my involvement. And I wish I would have gotten involved in organized real estate at a much earlier stage in my career, because I didn't get involved until maybe 8 years ago. And what it does for you is it gives you that instant intel of what's happening in the industry, learning about the changes. You become so much more clear on the overall impact of our industry and the economy. Mm-hmm. And you make so many connections with people. I mean, I've built some great friendships, but I've built relationships where I can reach out to people too and say, hey, I have this situation. What are your thoughts on it? So mm-hmm. you can begin to interact with others who are that involved in the industry. And in terms of balance, I think for me personally, I have been very good my entire career at establishing boundaries. Sure, I'll work all night. I'll work 36 hours straight if I need to, but don't expect me to do that on the regular, because I'm very structured with my schedule, and I will be very careful with what I say yes to, because then I have to say no to something else. Mm-hmm. And so I work very diligently with my schedule, and I condition my clients and my friends and family, look, I'm not up at 5 a.m., so don't be texting me at 5 a.m. But if you have a question at midnight, I'm probably still awake, so that's okay. So that's how I've created that balance through how I manage expectations with other people.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point for all of us, is to set the expectations, but then stick to those boundaries. And so, Rhonda.
So for me, it was, a book that changed my life was called The Best Yes, because I said yes to everything. PTA president, football mom, like all of it. So over the years, I've had to learn to be very strategic with my time, to learn to be very present. And so now at the point where I'm at, I have one community thing that I'm very active in. I'm active in my industry, and I'm active in a charity. And when I'm in those different sectors, I try and be very present. So you have to decide where you want to invest your time and go all in.
Thank you.
You can't say yes to everything. So learn to say no. Learning to say no is a good thing.
That is a good thing. That means we're much more focused on what's important. Yes. Mia, did you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Starting off, when I first started off, okay, not married, no kids, I was like at every event, every community thing. People had me a part of so many things, and I actually really appreciated all that free time I had, because I really made the best of it during those years. And then, you know, even with the association, one of the things I love doing, even through the past few years, have been hosting workshops on various topics. We would host workshops at CVAR and Tri-Counties, sometimes anywhere from 2 to 4 times a month. And those were always an inspiring way to kind of give back to the real estate community. And I love doing those. But again, going back to balance, I think for us, for me, it's kind of like that counterbalance. It's been, we've again been open for 16 years, but I have now a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and I'm appreciative of pouring all that blood, sweat, and tears early on, which is now giving me the freedom to be the mom that I enjoy being. So it's kind of like counterbalance in a way. Now it's the first time since Landon was born, my 1-year-old, I actually come in Monday through Wednesday, and I'm at home Thursday to Sunday. That like never happened in the last 16 years. So I'm very grateful that it's kind of turned, and I do, you know, it's again, not so much balance, because now I feel like I'm leaning into my motherhood role a lot right now. But that was because of how much I poured in earlier on. And so I'm appreciating this kind of counterbalance. It's a push and pull. Right.
I think that's a really interesting concept, that counterweight, the push and pull. So thank you. I appreciate you bringing that up. I think
Suzanne, can I add one thing? If somebody's looking to get into the broker role, though, I think getting involved in the association is super important, because it does elevate your level of expertise, and it puts you with other real professionals. So I highly encourage that.
Thank you, Rhonda. I have to admit that I started going to CAR in 1985, and I've missed one meeting since then. So I'm either a little, I don't know, I'm a little crazy, but I just love my involvement. But you also make such great friends, and then you have opportunities like Woman Up. So I do encourage people, even if it's sitting on a committee, you know, you don't have to become president, although it's pretty fun to be president of an association. I do encourage our audience to really consider becoming, if they're not already involved in their local association, at least. I see Deborah up here. Do I have time to give them one more round of a question?
So I think what I'd love to do is ask a couple of the questions that were in the chat, and then do one final round for everyone. That's their final bit of advice. Does that work for you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So nuts and bolts are where it's at, ladies. Got lots of questions. So when you said, this is an idea, how did you find the brokerage models to review? What did that process look like for you? Did you go to a website? Did you talk to a person? How did you know about all the models? Who'd like to take that first?
I can take it. You know, I think just your experience in the business, you just start to know. You just start to know who does what, and that there's just a handful of models. Now, everyone will think that they've created the new next thing, but the reality is there's only 3 models. And so you just sort of pick and choose from all that's out there and create the system that works best for you.
I love that. So what would you say those 3 are?
Well, there's the split model where agents are on a split. There's the 100% or flat fee model. And then there's sort of a hybrid where you have a flat fee and a split.
Right. So you're really, when you're talking about the business models, you're really talking about how you pay agents coming in.
Yeah, because the only other real model is, are you virtual or are you brick and mortar?
Yes, I was just going to say that's been a huge shift. We've seen so many organizations go that way. Obviously, there were some that started it years ago, but a lot are going to kind of that cloud-based. You know, we've had, for those of you who are like, you still want to dig in, you still want more. We've been doing this series all month around this conversation, but really for the last couple of years, we've been interviewing broker owners, and we always ask them what it looks like inside their organization. Even just last week, we had Sabrina Brown and Barb Betts on, and Barb Betts kind of has this hybrid team that functions as a brokerage, right? And so there's even ways in which you can, and I'm not sure if you said it today, Mia, but like schedule a virtual coffee with broker owners that there's something about, maybe it's their marketing, or maybe it's the vibe of the tribe in their organization. You know, you love that their team's always getting together and doing fun things. Maybe you heard Mia's story today about how their company got together and invested together, right? Look for those stories and reach out to those people. We have never to date in 4+ years had somebody say, no way, I'm not Sharon, don't call me again. Okay, so don't be afraid. All right, next question is, should I register my corporation as a C Corp, S Corp, or LLC? How did you decide that?
I think that's a question you have to ask your accountant and your attorney. I'm not sure that it makes sense. You can't advise until you know what someone's personal situation is.
Yes, agreed. Did all of you, this is a great point to ask all of you. Do you have a resource that is helping you along the way, keeping it legal and clean and healthy? And because that's a great resource that we didn't really dig into. And if you do, where did you find them?
So for me,
Rhonda, go ahead.
I have a bookkeeper that keeps my books on a monthly basis and we meet monthly to go over it. And then I also have a CPA that does all of my taxes. They created my S Corp. They analyzed where I was at and advised me what I should become. So for me, they advised me to become an S Corp.
Anybody else want to add to that?
Similar answer, just that monthly bookkeeping is so important. We use QuickBooks, and then we have our CPA team that digs in and provides us additional support and advice.
I love that. How about you? Any last minute, Lori or Suzanne, any advice you have on? I mean, Suzanne, you pretty much said go talk to somebody, right? Like, I think that's the key, right?
It's the advice we give our clients. We need to follow it ourselves.
Yes, so good. So the last question that I want to ask all of you is, you all have very different naming cadence for your organizations, for your brokerages. So have you found, for instance, using your name, Mia, has worked really well versus you, Rhonda, using a name that doesn't include your name? Like, how did you go through that process? And do you recommend one over the other now that you've done it? Mia, why don't we start with you?
Oh, okay.
I think for us, again, there was not a whole lot of thought into it, to be real truthful. At 22, opened the corporation, McLeod and Associates. It was simple, easy. It was that quick, and wouldn't change it. It has served us well.
Lori, how about you?
Business, just so business. Because it was literally grassroots book of business, like all the events I attended. Now our book of business is in the thousands, but that was a lot of grassroots that started from me hitting the pavement. Again, being single and no children, I was at every event, that book of business was just growing and growing through grassroots. And so it helped, I think, to have it as McLeod and Associates for us.
I think that's great.
I know when I had, I was going to say, when I had my own company, I had Yost Management, which was property management, and Suzanne Yost and Associates. And I felt, because I was in a small area, I'm sorry, that my name recognition was important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think that is a key, is knowing your area too, right? knowing how the size. If you work in, what they call the a smaller community, a town versus a large city, it really can help, especially if you have legacy with your name, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lori, you have Namazi Real Estate Resource, the resources side of your business, right? The consulting, but then you also named the brokerage. It's Laurel, right? Laurel.
Right.
So you've done both.
Mhm.
Which has been easier, or do they both have their good and
Well,
bad?
yeah, they both have their different purposes. When I started my consulting business, I knew people would recognize my name. And it's an unusual name and they knew me in the industry. And so for me, the root of my business is being a real estate resource. So I simply attached the last name with that statement,
Mhm.
and it sounded so simple, yet everything else I threw on the paper just didn't resonate. And so that really made sense. And I had a marketing consultant that I was working with who was analyzing it, reviewing everything. I mean, I had to go to an expert, and yet I ended up with the name that I originally selected. But hey, I did the due diligence, and she reaffirmed, what I felt, that this was the right name. As far as the brokerage, I think it depends when you start your brokerage. If you've already built up a name as a salesperson with your individual name, it may make sense to carry that forward into your new brokerage. A lot of teams do that for that very reason. They are the McLeod team, and now they are the McLeod brokerage. And so for us, it was a collaboration, though, of four people, me and my primary business partner, but we brought in our two agents and said, look, we need to really figure out who we are. And so we just did several brainstorming sessions, and we came up with a variety of options. And we all connected with this one for a variety of different reasons. We each had our own reason why the word Laurel meant something to us.
Oh, I
So
love
that's how
that.
we chose the name.
I love that. I love the team aspect of that, that you all came together. And Rhonda, how about you? I mean, have you said the name of your brokerage yet?
The name of the brokerage is Sparrow Lily Realty. It is a word that means something to me very personally. It's built on scripture. And I had mentioned that I took this dream to my Bible study group. And one day they were all sending me a million names because I was like, well, I can't open a brokerage if I don't have a name. And we tried a million different names. And he sent my leader sent me two scriptures on a specific morning, and the word sparrow and the word lily jumped out at me, and
Mm.
they have deep meaning to me. And that thus I'm like, this is it. I don't, and I think when you find the name, because you're like, I don't care what anybody says, it doesn't
Right.
have to mean anything to anybody. It means something very deep to me, and I can live it out. So that's how I found my name.
Oh, I love that. I love all the fun different stories. My goodness. Okay, so before we go to final round, and before I turn it back over to you, Suzanne, I have gotten a few questions directed to me here, both here and on Facebook, about more of the nuts and bolts. And so instead of sharing more about that today, I want to remind everybody about the Woman Up Academy. So Lori and Suzanne have both written courses for the Academy, the Woman Up Academy, that California Association of Realtors has on their education site. They have given us a 20% off of the Academy. So it's less than $600 to get 11 different classes with experts who are from everything from personal development to leadership development to actually how to start your brokerage nuts and bolts. And so I really encourage those of you who have been messaging us, maybe Suzanne's getting this too, for more. We want to give you more. So head on over to the Academy. If you aren't really ready yet for the Academy, I have shared many times in the past about our mentorship program. It's free. It's on the Facebook group. There are so many amazing women inside our community who have signed up to be mentors to you. And they tell you right there on their little mentor card, it's like little trading cards, Cabbage Patch dolls or baseball cards or Pokemon, whatever. They tell you what their specialties are. So head on over to the Facebook group and click the mentorship program button and sign up and connect with someone over there. In other words, if there's if that stirring is inside of you, if that still small voice is whispering or maybe shouting that you want to step into this, don't let that pass. Take a moment today, connect to the mentorship program by the Academy, reach out to one of these amazing women and start a conversation. Okay, Suzanne, I know you've got at least one more question, if not the final question. So go for it.
I have one more question, which probably is the final question, but I'd like to just take a minute to give some quotes from these fantastic women that came out of our pre-session conversation. This one, I don't remember who said it, so whoever wants to take credit, start now, whether you are ready or not. Lori, when you have your broker's license, you have options. We covered that. Rhonda, I particularly like this one. You don't have to have it figured out. Do it scared. And she also said, not dying with that dream in my heart was worth every penny. And then Mia, it's really about the journey and the wisdom you gain. You can't put a price on it. And this is really good. This is not our practice life. And then I'll give you mine real quick, but I have to give a little background. When I was going to law school, I had this young woman in the bank say, oh, I would really love to go to massage school, but I said, why aren't you doing that? Because I was in my 40s and working full time and going to law school 45 minutes away. And she said, well, I would be 30. And I said to her, you're going to be 30 anyway. Wouldn't you rather be 30 with do it with a dream that you have wanted to accomplish? So with that, I'm going to ask you all if you could really just give me a real quick answer to either something that has most benefited or surprised you or disappointed you from having your own brokerage. And I'm going to start with Mia.
Okay, so what has surprised me earlier on, especially, is that people truly want to see us succeed. There's a lot of people out there that want to see us all succeed. And I've experienced it not only with this amazing Woman Up community, but in my Filipino community and so many various communities. It's so refreshing and it's so inspiring to know that there are a lot of cheerleaders behind us. And we may not think that may surprise us. And that definitely surprised me being young in. I wasn't sure who I could ask help from. And I quickly learned that there are mentors and coaches and tribes and cheerleaders everywhere, as long as we're willing to ask them. And to what Deborah said earlier, like, I'm one of those that love a good coffee break. So if there's anything that I can do to add value to any one of you guys, I'm right here for you. And a disappointment, I shared it earlier, or not disappointment, but a concern is, expectations. Sitting in this role as a business owner, I've seen a lot of different things, from backstabbing and relationships going sour and things like that. So, that's always a disappointment or a concern. But I also shared that, our team celebrated 5, 10, 16 years of commitment and loyalty to one another. And with that, we created something by buying our first 4-unit investment as a team. So while there's the ugly side of the business, there's also this amazing flip side that you can create.
Thank you. Thank you. Rhonda, how about you?
For me, I don't think it's limited to real estate. I think that there are so many people that don't take hold of their gifts and use them to the fullest. I wish that people would believe in themselves as much as others believe. I have the privilege of having 13 agents with me, and in each and every single one of them, I see such special qualities that I wish that they could see them for themselves. There are so many opportunities. And so my hope is that take one nugget from today and put that belief, tuck it in your heart and do it. Just do it. And of course, I'm an open book. There are no secrets in real estate. I will give you my whole playbook, share you everything in hopes that you can take your path. So
thank you, Rhonda. Lori, final words from you.
That's the hardest question of the day, I swear, because I just take everything in stride. And so if there's a challenge, I just figure it out. And so, what was the hardest thing? I don't even remember. But I will say that one thing I had to recognize about myself was that I I can't do everything by myself. I have to reach out to the experts. And I know Mia touched on this previously of it's okay to ask for help. And I had to learn that too, because I'm always available offering my help. But I had to recognize I'm not a good bookkeeper. I'm just not. I had to hire someone who's good. So don't be afraid to do that. And if I may, I'm gonna hit return in the chat, and I am hosting a free workshop on June 7th, the 10 questions to ask yourself if you want to start your own brokerage. So I'll plug that in, and the registration link will be there, or reach out to me via email. I'd love to get to know more of our community here.
That's tremendous. And I'm hearing kind of a common thread as we close this out, is that we need to be confident and comfortable in reaching out and asking for help and asking for support. And I know that's hard I know it's hard for me. But I just have to say, and I know I'll turn this over to Deborah after this, I am truly honored to have been selected to be a part of this panel and to be your moderator today, and so happy to get to know all of you. And if I can be of any help to anyone out there in the audience, I know that Deborah's put our emails and our contact information in the chat box. And I just wish you all the best in whatever choices that you decide to make.
Oh my goodness. What a beautiful way to wrap this conversation up with a bow. Well, ladies, thank you so much for opening your hearts and letting us take a peek behind the scenes, hear a bit of the hot, messy middle, which we love around here, and really get to understand your stories on a deeper level. I believe we hit so many of the aspects that we all really wanted to make sure came out today, right? And so I'm so thankful to you. I know that Sarah and Leslie are as well, as they watch from opposite coasts as well. For those of you who are here with us live, or you're catching the replay, you don't have to stop asking questions because we turn the cameras off. We really want to get you connected. So if you want to have a conversation with any one of these women and you're having trouble getting in touch with them, message us at womanup@car.org, and the team will get you connected. If you're watching on the Facebook group and you're checking out the replay, you can absolutely ask questions in there, and we will make sure to tag whomever you asked to make sure that they see it. The heart behind the Wisdom series and each one of these sessions is to equip you with the resources and connections that you have asked for. And starting a brokerage is one of the foundational reasons a lot of folks join the group. They're curious about it, they've done it, they might want to do it again. So we want to make sure to get you deeply involved and connected to whomever you need. So we will be hosting the replay very, very soon. For those of you who want more immediately, you can check out the Facebook group or the IamWomanUp.com Facebook, or the IamWomanUp.com blog. Check out our past weekly live interviews. There are so many amazing stories shared there, and women who have clearly said yes to sharing their story. So thank you again for joining us. We look forward to keeping connected to you on the Facebook group. And until next time, take care, everyone. Thanks again.
Thank you all.
Thank you.